Hello friends! We're going to do a little bit of oracle reading and astrology of what's going on through October, especially through Halloween. Pulling initial energy of what we're going to be looking at is Aquarius and the 11th house. So we're really looking at collective energy, really securing our foundations. There's the same mountain iconography on both of these. The Aquarius and 11th house are tied together, so we're starting out strong with Aquarius. Now, if we were to look at where things are today, this is Stellarium. Aquarius, we don't really have much going on in here. So as far as it calling out Aquarius itself, no planets are really going in Aquarius at this moment in time. And I don't think throughout the rest of October we will really see anybody coming through Aquarius. Let's see if I can do this without giving us whiplash. Yeah, nobody's really coming through Aquarius until, oh, would you look at that? On Halloween, we do have the moon in Aquarius. So the moon, it looks like, is probably going to be one of our most significant players this Halloween season. So let's go back to right now. It's the 15th at this moment in time. Let's go check out where the moon is at this moment in time. We are currently in between Cancer and Leo. This is not an opposition, I don't believe, based off of what I can, off the top of my head, think of the geometry. But we do have the moon passing into Leo. That means it's probably going to cross past Regulus today. Let's see. Let me center you. So tonight we're going to see... yeah, the moon won't be hitting Regulus until tomorrow afternoon. So we're not going to quite be hitting Regulus with the moon until tomorrow, but then we're going to cross past Regulus. The new moon is going to be on the 21st. So we're going to see that new moon in the middle of the night on the 21st. Or we're not going to see it, obviously, because it's on the opposite side of the planet, so we're not going to see the new moon. But it's going to be rising with the horizon, essentially, because at 6 a.m. it's still going to be fairly newish, crossing around Spica with the sun. Okay, let's keep on following the moon here for a second. I just want to understand her whole journey until we get to Halloween. So the 23rd, we're going to see her align with Mars and Mercury. This might be a significant breakthrough, action, movement forward on communication, especially emotional communication that's been needing justice. If you are a twin flame journey person, this might resonate with you. Maybe we'll pull a card or two on twin flame journey. I have this feeling that the 23rd might be significant for those associated with the twin flame journey. I do readings for the twin flame journey on my TikTok, so and also other sites. I do it for divine masculine and the divine feminine. In separation primarily is my focus, but I also try to give just healing and growth advice in general for balancing the internal self. The internal polarity of the self is kind of my focus. Let's see, is there going to be a breakthrough on the 23rd? Surrender. Dark night of the soul. Oh man. This is in reverse, so it is giving a little bit of you've gotten through this, and I think you might be accepting the surrender fully. Surrendering to the justice is what I might be getting. A breakthrough. Yeah, the processing the karmic debts. So the 23rd of this month, you might be seeing some justice come from the karmas that have to do with actions you did or did not take, and communication you did or did not have, especially related to emotions and respecting the divine feminine balance to the divine masculine polarity. Okay, let's continue following the moon, see what else we've got going on. So 25th, we're going to see the moon pass through the dark rift in the galactic center, 25th to 26th. So that's only significant because this is the rebirth, this was the return home of our emotional space. So this happening so soon after justice is the cleansing and reckoning moment. So you might see this moon passing by Mercury and Mars as a request for forgiveness, and then this decision on the 25th, or between the 25th and 26th, as the moon passes through the dark rift in the galactic center, as the actual rebirth and choice point. So this is where you truly will see what happens as a result of what is asked for 2 days prior, or in the few days prior. There is, of course, a buildup and a dying down to the movement of everything going on here. So if we continue going on through time, 26, we're gonna have the moon passing through Sag. I'll note this for everybody here. 28th overnight, Pluto is sitting somewhere around here in between Sagittarius and Capricorn. So this is another transformation of the underworld type of moment. We're going to be conjunct Pluto, and those two are fairly close-ish together. They'd be closer if Pluto was in opposition to the sun, along with us. So that's fairly close, though. Continuing on, and then like we mentioned, it was kind of gonna hit the middle of the day. Oh my gosh. It was kind of getting hit the middle of the day on the 31st that we're seeing the moon in Aquarius. So over Halloween, the day of Halloween and the night of Halloween, the moon is going to be in Aquarius. I think it's going to be energy around really testing the emotional growth of what you've accepted as justice from the week prior to that. And then as we're approaching Saturn and Neptune here, it's going to be the stripping of the illusions around, was that actual justice? Was that justice something that helped or harmed us? Okay, this is kind of how the cycle of all this plays out. Let's see if we can get any confirmation to that. High Priest, personal empowerment, Queen, divine feminine, and divine order, practice patience. See, I have this feeling I'm reading for the divine feminine in this space right now, and the fact that Queen is the one that's upright in this moment, while the High Priest and divine order are reversed. It's giving that the Queen, the divine feminine, is the one bringing the patience and the ordering, while the masculine is the one that's asking for justice. Okay, so the Queen is the one who's going to determine if the vessel that you put back together to have test the holding of the water for Aquarius, because the point of Aquarius is that we are seeing if the collective cup that the cupbearer holds is able to hold water and feed the masses and nourish the masses when it moves into Pisces. Capricorn is us testing the structure, or the structure breaking, so the vessel has the opportunity to break through Capricorn. Okay, so that's the idea of what's going on. And if you're a twin flame associating person, this might be a significant time for you. Okay, I wanted to pull my Halloween deck because we are talking about a peek on Halloween here. And this is going to be about your friendships, your like-minded groups, your tribes, the collective especially, the judgments around who you choose as tribe versus who you don't want as your tribe. Halloween, what are you going to be characterized for this collective? How are you going to be characterized? Ancestors. I was getting in another reading the other day that the spirits are going to be heavy on Halloween. So you might also be very much feeling your ancestors and the spirits behind you this Halloween season. It's going to be a very thin veil, I think, as far as spirits go. So stay tapped into your intuition and protect yourself for sure. And this is forgiveness, reducing burden in reverse. So a theme is probably going to be releasing judgments that harm you more than help you. This might be having a lenient judgment for somebody because you realize you were being a little too harsh in your critiques, or it could be having a stronger judgment around boundaries and not allowing forgiveness for somebody because that is protecting your peace and reducing your burdens. And you're going to have your spirits and your ancestors with you to help you decide this. Great energy. Great energy. I wonder if there is an indicator of who planetarily is helping us. Ooh, let me grab a different deck. That makes me want to grab a different deck, actually. This one. This is the Oracle of the Celestial Deities. So we're more focusing in on the planets and the asteroids themselves, rather than the houses or the signs. Which, I mean, we didn't actually pull out a planet. So let's see if there is one. Uranus kind of slipped out there. So Uranus is most definitely a player at this time. He has been a player for a minute over here in Taurus. So right now, Uranus is squaring up almost exactly with the Pleiades, as close as he's gonna get this time around when he passes by. And he happens to pass by about every 84 years, which if you know anything about like generational turning cycles that happen about every 80-ish years, and cycles in history we see with like the Civil War and Revolutionary War and World Wars, we tend to have conflicts and things arise within a period that aligns with the movement of Uranus. And if we look back in time, and I might do a longer video on this in the future, we see that a lot of this coincides with when Uranus passes by the Pleiades. So if we're going to look at the build up to Halloween, I'm going back in time right now. So the fact it's moving forward shows us that Uranus is actually in retrograde right now. So I'm a week in the past at this point relative to today. Today is the 15th. I'm looking at the 7th at this moment in time on the screen. So if we step through time right now, centering on Uranus, we see that he's moving back in retrograde, further away from the Pleiades when he had just been starting to pass by. We see him super close to the Pleiades. So this is significant because this is when we see a lot of collective destruction moments, collective reckoning moments. Uranus is the god of destruction and reckoning in a big, big way. Collective reckoning, innovation, destruction of collective institutions and powers if they are not serving. So it being by the Pleiades right now is amplifying the collective reckoning. Let's just go with that. Let's just go with it. The collective reckoning has been amplified majorly. What else do we want to talk about as far as Oracle? Is there anything else today? I think if anything, the Halloween deck is not quite finished with its message. So this Halloween season, what's going on? What have we understood about what's going on this Halloween season? Let me make this smaller. So ancestors and spirits are going to be big. Forgiveness is going to be a big theme, as well as balancing divine order as the divine feminine. So most likely, if you are in a twin flame separation journey with somebody that you have identified as a divine masculine, they are going to ask for judgment, ask for forgiveness of some type within the next week or two. Like I said, we were tracking the moon and following it where it is conjunct Mars and Mercury in Libra. So good chance that's going to be balancing the scales emotionally about actions and communication with some person. Yeah, let's see if there's any last messages from the Halloween deck. Any last messages for the next couple weeks through Halloween? Cauldron. Synergy and healing. Brew some soup. Really work on your brew, finding your power. and healing yourself through that